Thank you. Appreciate it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. I started my global career doing technical business development. 39 and a half years ago, my first trip to Korea was kind of a troubleshooting tech support for the Teflon and other related businesses across Asia. And so I kind of lived that way for quite a number of years. I know Eddie Geisel is in the room here today. He has lived sort of like that, but more on the business development side and the sales side. Folks like that have experienced those opportunities, to me, it's great because that was my niche. I loved traveling and interacting with clients from a long distance, solving their problems, and then visiting them and finding new problems. As an engineer, I just thought there's nothing better. Now that I'm with Global Chamber, this is the best job in the world, quite frankly, in terms of meeting people and supporting people around the world. And maybe a lot of it's the same. The topic, though, today is more around the sales and marketing side in the sense of, how can we better support our clients? How can we better grow our business? And so we're coming at it from a sales and marketing perspective. I wanted to frame up three things before we get going because we have a number of experts in the room and we want to hear from them. If, as you're speaking or you're thinking about this topic, I'd like you to be thinking about these three things. And if you have some experience, especially with the two books I'm going to mention, please try to apply what you're going to be sharing to the concepts in those books. Number one is artificial intelligence. You've heard of it, you're using it, and it's transformative. Even on a week-to-week basis, what I'm finding is I'm learning something almost every day, certainly every week. The ability for Claude to interact with HubSpot, for instance, which is our back end, along with what we've developed with Globi. Globi, by the way, is powered by Claude. So the combination of those three things, the ability to understand from our perspective, members, from your perspective, likely clients, is extraordinary in terms of capturing that information for the systems to be able to tell us what we should be doing next or make recommendations, and then for us to tell the system to go do it. The ability of that, for me, I've just kind of grasped that over the last couple months, so the ability of how that all transpires, and it's changing everything. So I'm curious to see how that's changed your life as well. So that's number one. Please let us know your thoughts there. That's huge. Number two is, and these two books are old books, relatively old books, and I've just discovered them and read them. So I apologize if I'm late to the table. But Deep Work, the book Deep Work by Cal Newport, is one. I have the Libby app, at least here in the US. If you have a library card, you get it for free. So you get all these books, and I've been reading for years now on the Libby app with no charge other than my library card at the Scottsdale Library. I discovered Deep Work through just researching, like, what are some good business books. The concept of blocking out time. And for me, the visualization has been something that I heard years ago, where our days are like a bucket or a canister or some container, and the most important things are the rocks. You put the rocks in the container first, because what happens during the day is water and sand come in. If you let the water and sand come in first, you never get the rocks in. But if you get the rocks in, the most important things, then you're going to be able to at least get them ideally focus on them and get them done. So I've revisited that through the book Deep Work. He talks about blocking out time for the most important things, because more than ever we're distracted. And one of the things, for instance, he has 4 rules. One of them is to give up social media. And so I have largely given it up other than LinkedIn. I don't, for instance, check Yankee scores on a daily basis anymore. I'm first of all frustrated by their management and their leadership and just all the bad decisions they've made for about 4 or 5 years. So so it's given me some freedom to stay away from it for now for at least 2 weeks. So I don't tell me what's happening, please, because I don't want to know. But that's freed up time, not just time, but it's freed up the multitasking that goes on. And deep work talks a lot about the danger of multitasking and how our brains don't fully wire around the most important things that we should be doing. And so I'm trying to rewire my brain on the most important things, not just in sales and marketing, but in other things. And so I'm curious how you view those things. He also talks about just basic things like how do you manage your emails, and I one problem I had run into is I was checking it all day, periodically whenever I had a moment. And he talks about doing it, setting aside maybe 2 times a day, just going in, getting out, and staying away from it. So I'm curious to see how you're handling those concepts. And the third is the book Atomic Habits. So I'm going to bet that all of you have read that. There's a podcast on Spotify with Mel Robbins is the name. If you want to search for it and you haven't seen that yet, James Clear on Atomic Habits with Mel Robbins. It's an hour and a half that encapsulates that entire book and the whole concept of building day to day the systems to be able to be successful. Again, not just in sales and marketing, but more holistically. So recommended. I'm a process person. I'm a chemical engineer. Go lo and behold, the concept of making connections and having processes and improving those. I have not applied those things as well on the sales and marketing side. So I'm curious to see how you have and what kind of systems you've built along the way. So thank you for allowing me to share that ahead of time. One of the people that I think we all should know and that we all should listen to is Dan Hindman. Dan is a sales expert, and one of the things that really I admire about Dan is his not only his deep knowledge of sales and his ability to do sales, but the processes. Again, going back to my chemical engineer background, I'm a process guy, and the fact that he has those processes down, and not just processes that he built 20 years ago, but he's applied those processes to AI and incorporated AI into those so that he not only is successful with his own business, but he applies it for his clients. And so, Dan, thank you for your leadership. Sorry that you're a little bit sweltering there in London, but the weekend is a little bit better. You are hot in sales. What would you like to share today? We'd love to learn more.
Wow, wow, you're putting me on the spot kicking this off. Well, a couple of things you mentioned about that book, Deep Work. I have not read that book, but it sounds very interesting to me, and I do want to read it. But this concept of multitasking becoming dangerous, right? And so, it reminded me of a book that I read called "Who, Not How" by Dan Sullivan. If people have read that before. And that is the concept of, for a business owner, because I deal with a lot of business owners who are looking to strengthen their sales strategies, their sales teams. But typically a business owner is trying to figure out every little aspect of their business, right? And they don't quickly, ask the question, who can do this work? They figure out how can I get this work done? And so they end up multitasking and they end up taking on additional responsibilities over and over again and not getting a lot of traction in their business. So I just wanted to make note of that if people haven't read that book, but I think it was a really good book. And I use that philosophy a lot in my own practice. I'm in my own practice trying to help these SMBs, strengthen and grow and find revenue. And I'm going through all these tasks myself. And how do I reach out to them? How do I follow up with them? How do I do research on them? And so I'm kind of not practicing what I preach a lot. So I'm catching myself in that. and looking for people to help me and do those things. I guess that leads to, the AI discussion. I am not an AI expert at all. Um, but I use a lot of different tools and I help clients find the right tools to solve the right sales processes and try to enable their salespeople. And, to me, it's a lot about being prepared for the best quality conversations salespeople can have with clients, really understanding their business and being a consultant to their business rather than a salesperson. So showing them that they understand the industry and the trends and all that. And AI and Claude and all the other tools really enable salespeople to perform better. And so, as I dissect a sales process and rebuild it for a company, we're looking for these enablers, whether it's building a sales playbook or being prepared for a call or coaching on a call, using stuff like Fireflies or, as a note taker to coach and train and become better. I guess that's my 2 cents on those subjects. I hope I hit the mark.
No, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for kicking things off. And sorry to put you on the spot.
That's okay.
The way you do the and incorporate process onto the sales side is so impressive. Bernard Ablola does very similar things on the marketing slash sales. Where's the difference between sales and marketing? One of the things that's really impressed me about Bernard is that he gets that marketing can bring folks to the table and how to get people to the table, but then you've got to close it. There's an action step that needs to happen. And so those of us, not us, those folks that are only sales or only marketing and only have that mindset, I don't understand that world because they go together, right? The reason why you do marketing, at least from a sales perspective, is to bring people to the table and close, unless you're doing the branding piece. And so the good news is Bernard knows both aspects of marketing. And Bernard, thank you for arriving today a little bit early. Did you drop Noah off at school a little early?
No, we had the wife do it today. She just came home from New York. So he said, "Hey, if Doug's on the call, I'm there too." So here I am.
Very cool. You've got a lot of experience with one-to-many marketing. You've got lots of experience with LinkedIn Live and bringing people to the table, and then have setting up processes to be able to make those that are in the target be receptive and then actually take action on the selling side. Um, uh, and any comments that you have or either about AI or deep work or atomic habits, sales, marketing, the weather, Noah, what would you like?
I love it. I love all the books that you mentioned, read all of them. They're fantastic. I was actually fortunate to talk to Dan probably several weeks ago. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant conversation. I walked away a lot from his sales frameworks. If you haven't chatted with him one on one, fantastic. So I think there's a couple of things that's happening right now. One is we are in the age of attention, meaning that the folks who have and master and can gain attention. Attention means opportunities, and opportunities means connections, and connections means maybe, possibly a better life. So if we said anything at the other end of that opportunity may reason to be a better life, then I would say then attention is interesting to me. Last year alone, I posted 2,200 times on social media. Before that, I posted 20 because what happened in 2024, we lost a major client, six-figure client, multiple six figures in our marketing agency. And I said, uh-oh, what do we do? I've never marketed for myself. Let's turn the camera on myself and see what happens, Tiffany, my wife. What happened after one day, no one liked the post. 5 days later, no one liked the post. I posted again, nothing happened. 10 days posting video, nothing happened. 20 days posting video, nothing happened. 27th day, nothing happened. I told my friends to like it, comment, nothing happened. The 28th day, something happened and one took off. And it's going to hit about 1 million views now. I posted again. That's going to hit it close to 1 million. I posted again. There's a quarter of a million. 3 months later, opportunities started coming in. People started seeing my videos and reaching out. I think the opportunity is the other side of that post. So back to AI and back to sales. What does that mean for us? There was an article in Fortune magazine, and one executive said it best. No one, he's talking about his internal team. No one reads his emails. They have an intranet. He writes these long white paper documents. No one pays attention in his own company, but they pay attention when he posted on LinkedIn. So I would argue that I would like to argue and say Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, said stay away from social media, but he's an author. His job is to write. His job is to spend deep work writing long articles and books and things of that nature. I would venture to say all of us are business owners. If we write, we're not going to make any money unless that's our business. If we get attention and we talk to a customer and we show them our marketing and we also do sales, I guarantee we will generate business. So that's my thesis there. And in terms of AI, if you have a feedback loop, it will be very interesting. So I have a client in Europe. They have 70 salespeople. I told them, I said, hey, Rick, give me all your salespeople's transcripts. Give me all of them. I fed it into Claude AI and I said, analyze these transcripts based on the Sandler method, based on pitch anything, right? I'm sure I could have put Dan's sales accelerator because I just didn't know about that information yet, but put that, run it against all of those frameworks and tell me what you find. And the number one thing it told me to find is if it told Rick was having a problem ghosting. Who's ever had a problem ghosting? You pitch something, right? And then the client leaves, and then you're there chasing. Hey, Dan, I'm just checking in. Would love to see if you have any questions, right? The first thing it said that Rick did wrong with all his 70 salespeople was he missed the upfront contract, meaning that when you're on that second call, hey, Eddie, thanks for our time today. I appreciate that. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I'm sure you're going to have questions about me. But at the end of this, let's make sure we book out time to close a loop, right? And because I don't want to chase you and you're busy and I'm sure you have questions for me, but let's just make sure we carve out time on our calendar to close that loop. That's the upfront contract. So, Doug, to answer your question about deep work, my contrarian view is stay away from social media if you want to. But I say, what if you create more than you consume? Instead of consuming content, what if you create more? And the second thing on AI is create a feedback loop. Put your sales information into Claude, they'll generate your marketing. So I'll pause right there. I said a lot.
Beautiful. Did anybody have any responses to that? I saw Eddie, you were shaking your head. What's going on, man?
Uh,
Good. Eddie,
you guys,
Eddie Geisel is in Tucson and he's an expert on sales, but he's also an expert on growing business across borders. And thank you for joining us today. What's going on in your world and any response so far to the conversation that we've started?
thanks, Doug. Yeah, I'm glad Dan and Bernard got to go first. That's great. Um, it's good to see all you guys. I want to touch on what Bernard said about attention because I think he's correct. And it's going to be even more important to maintain that attention in a sea of distraction. I want to add to that, though. I think another element beyond attention is trust. Because just because you see a lot of content or consume it doesn't mean that people are going to trust you. So, what we work with all the sales teams we work with globally is focusing the human element. Like, let the AI do what the AI does. I love, by the way, Bernard, about putting transcripts into Claude. I'll talk about that in a second. But the people element is still critical. So even if you're creating videos and putting them on LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever social media you do, it's not a matter of just being seen. It's a matter of being trusted. So you need to focus on what is it that people actually need to see to gain trust, and how are you going to add value to them rather than just. I see a lot of people, they just spit stuff out, and I mean, for me at least, it doesn't do anything. But when somebody really touches on a problem through their social media and they really connect with me, I instantly feel a little bit of rapport and trust, even though I've never spoken to that person. And it's likely that if I look for those services in the future, I'll seek them out, right? And I think, Bernard, that's what probably happened to you. People saw over time, and it built this trust or cadre, and then eventually they say, hey, I actually need this. So
Mm.
what you did with Claude, I've actually done with other AI tools, taking transcripts and analyzing sales calls, because I have people around the world that I need to coach, and I can't be in every sales call. I can't be in most of their sales calls. So I've done the same thing. I've created it's an AI form essentially that will take the transcripts and summarize a sales call based on the methodology we use at Prana Global, and it'll analyze where they were strong, where they were weak, give suggestions of what they could have done better, questions they could ask, things like that. And it's really helped me as a sales leader be able to manage people across borders without being there. And that's the biggest challenge. The more separation we get as sales leaders with global teams, how can you lead and manage if you're not in the room with them? So I think AI is a great way to do that.
Mm.
So
When you guys are saying the transcripts, are you talking about from meetings like this where you're recording it, etc.?
it could be. You could definitely take a transcript from this. So what I do what I try to get the salespeople to do, and what I also do if I'm in the middle of a sales call, is I'll let the person know that I'm talking to, that I'm recording. Usually nowadays everybody records everything, so it's not a problem. I use a tool called Plod. It's this little thing here. It fits on the back of your phone. It records. I could be in a room with 20 people and it'll record all the conversations. It's kind of crazy. And what it does is it'll take the transcript, and I can take the native transcript, copy it, paste it into Claude if I want to, or it can summarize the transcript itself with the app based on whatever template you want it to summarize. So you can use
Mm.
the summary templates that it gives you, or you can create your own. And when you create your own, it's kind of like when you program an AI agent. You upload, here's my process, here's all the different things you want it to analyze the transcript with, and then it's just a matter of when people record their sales calls,
Mm.
it automatically summarizes and gives you that insight based on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. There might be some slight cultural differences. I'm sitting in Germany, and people are, for the most part, a little bit hesitant about that.
Yep,
Considering for Europe, Germany was the one who came up with the data protection laws. More
yep,
or less, they wrote them for Europe. So it's extremely, Dan might know that or have heard that as far as they get very funny when you start recording things, etc.
totally agree.
I
It's
don't, I don't,
me too. You got to. Sometimes people don't want that, and
Yeah.
the other risk is, even if they allow it, are they going to be completely open? Talking about
Mm.
important things, defining their maybe their problems if they're being recorded. So it's a double-edged sword, but it's a tool that can be used. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah.
no, 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 it's okay. I was gonna, on this topic, I was gonna just tell everybody about two tools or partners that I have that do this type of work really, really well. So what we do is we build a sales playbook, for a client, a really lengthy sales playbook telling them exactly how they should conduct the call. And there are two vendors we use. One is called Triple Session. And what Triple Session does is plug into a call center application like AirCall, and it takes our playbook, loads it into their integration with Triple Session, monitors salespeople's calls, and real time prompts the salesperson based on what's on the playbook. And what's cool about that is at the end, it gives us, a summary as to what the person missed as it relates to their playbook, but then suggests training that they can do to get better at each step of the sale. And Jiminy does identical thing as well. And what Jiminy does on top of that is now can provide a sales leader with trends of their salespeople. So, for instance, in that 70-person, example you gave, Bernard, if those calls are being monitored, the sales leader now can say, "Hey, your team is suffering in these areas," and can suggest additional coaching and training needs. So there are some wonderful, wonderful tools that can just pull all this thing together. You don't need to manually just upload transcripts. It can be plugged in through an integration quite easily.
I love the
Gentlemen,
concept idea a lot. I created an agent off of Claude, and it listens to our calls, and then you could feed it different playbooks. You could feed it the
Yeah.
sales acceleration playbook, pitch anything by Oren Clef, Sandler, and then as you go, you could just literally type and say, "Oh, what are Dan's pain points right now? What's his main concern?" And then based on these frameworks, what should I say next? How should I approach it?
Yeah.
So that way, oh, now he understands Bernard heard him. Yes, it's AI, but I would say this, it's like any tool in the past. Would I hire someone without the tool or with the tool? Right. And that's how we have to start thinking about it because it will happen. I know Europe has these laws. I know US is a little bit different, but it will happen. And the winner will be the one with technology.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm interested, you mentioned with doing the posts, etc. I mean, how much time do you actually can you spend doing that many posts? I mean, the I've started this myself and even using a little bit of AI, but if you're doing your own job, you're doing this, how much time do you actually have to do posts on LinkedIn and that?
Great point. So I think it ties down to the actual books that Doug mentioned, this whole deep work, right? And this time blocking. When I first started, I was just picking up my phone and said my goal was to just post every day. Holy crap, that's time consuming. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. We have a year and a half year old. When he was a year old, I would hold him in one hand and say, "Tiffany, I have to post this." I told myself I'll post every single day. It got so annoying. So I created a system. And I think, Stephen, you mentioned AI. So I built a system on top of these platforms where it allows me to post 365 days, rain or shine, night or day, without having it to do it daily. In fact, let me show you the system. So let
Mm.
me see if I can pull it up here real quick, because I think I'm a very visual person. So if you look at this system right here, let's see content. Let me pull up the content right here. This
This is
is tools that we're using. 60 bucks a month, what have you. This is July, right? And you can see July is built out with tools. I'm sorry, with content. And you can see this is August. These are videos. These are our text. These are carousels. September, October, November, December. I could be on a boat for a year and a half, and my content will keep on showing in front of people's face. Now, here's how you do it. You just start with one concept, a text. Now you put an image to that. Now it's an image post and a text post. Now you take off your glasses and you read the teleprompter. Now you have a video. You take out the video and you do voiceover. That's a voiceover. Now you post those four things the next quarter, the next quarter, the next quarter. That one 15-minute or maybe 20-minute time to create that one piece of content turned into 1 month of content. You do it every single week. You have a whole playbook that you can go after. Now here, and I'll pause after this with one story. After 3 months, I did this. A law firm reached out. They said, "Bernard, I want to basically talk to you about your marketing services." I said, "Great. Here's my calendar." I show up to the call and I'm 6 minutes late because I'm dropping the kiddos off, probably the same shirt I wore the night before. And then I turned on the camera and I was about to apologize 6 minutes late. And I see 6 faces staring at me: senior partner, senior partner, senior partner, founder. I look at their website, they're a 100-person law firm. I'm like, holy crap, I better get my act together. I was about to apologize. Senior partner said, I've seen your videos. The person on the top right said, oh, he's everywhere. I'm not, but in the prospect's mind, they think you are. We did business together. We became friends. I'm doing consulting for them. They referred me business. It's because a lot of times we as business professionals, we wait for the first call to turn on our Zoom. And they don't know us. They haven't seen us. They
Mm.
don't know how we talk. Now we're selling them, which I'm not good at, right? Now they're coming to say, I want to work with you because I've already heard your content. I've built the trust, what Eddie mentioned. Anyway, I'll pause right there. That's what I think about content is make it
Mm.
automated, make it, there's systems out there to make it better.
Stephen, another thing that I completely agree with you, Bernard. Another thing to consider is because I've done this as well, and it's become unwieldy to be, to record the video, edit the video. Like Bernard was saying, you can take a 15 or 20-minute video and you can use it a lot of different ways, cutting up small reels and stuff, but it's still extremely time consuming. And what I've found is there's many services around the world. You can find people who can take your native video, you give them some instruction of what you want, and they'll edit it professionally. They'll cut it up. They'll send every day or every couple days, whatever you want, a new reel based on what you created. And it's, you can post it or you can pay for them to do it. There's I mean,
Yeah.
countless marketing companies that, Bernard, you probably do this for people. You help them with their schedule of when to post what and follow up and everything. And so then you can focus, Stephen, on what you do, and these other professionals can handle that. So there's a cost to it, but it's actually not nearly as high as you would think.
Yeah.
I have a question for Bernard. So, who is your target audience? You focus on, okay, this is my content. This is who I'm actually trying to connect with.
It's a great question. I have two target audiences, and it differs for each business. But I think I look at it as an ascension model, right? My first low ticket item is for executives, founders, and owners
Mm.
who want to basically have visibility. I believe we all have expertise. I have gray hair. You probably can't see it, but I'll tell you this: the people that have gray hairs, they're misunderstood and misrepresented on social media. Because when we open up our phone, it's everyone that's younger than us talking to us. But guess what? They have less experience, they have less knowledge, they have less lived experience. So the creator that's going to win now is the older folks because they have experience, but they just don't know how to get online,
Mm.
right? They don't know what to do online because we didn't grow up with this type of technology.
Mm.
Okay. So that leads to then the marketing services because our target audience is C-level execs, owners, founders, they have businesses, then my team can go in there and say, we can train you, or we can pull the levers for you. So that's the ascension model. Doug had mentioned that I run LinkedIn Lives. Every one of my LinkedIn Lives that I've done since a year and a half, it's at least registered at least 300 or more people. Imagine that. It's never, how can I, before I started this, it would be amazing to get 300 leads a year. Amazing. Now it's every single month. And we're
Mm.
like, wow, it works. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again. So anyway, that's the model. Get one to many, teach what you can teach, your expertise. From that one to many, there's gonna be a small people that want to work with you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. This is Doug here. My separate meeting. I just got a message. Is starting in 5 minutes, so I've got that on my phone and I've got you guys on my laptop. So I apologize for the split, but it's a group in Tashkent that are coming to California and to Canada in a couple months, and we're just getting them ready to be prepared for North America. Ivo and Don, you both are in the room as well. I don't know if you guys have any comments or thoughts. Ivo, in particular, with Stillman, you yourselves as a company do cross-cultural. Christina Wachter was going to be in the call today, but she has bronchitis. I love to hear her thoughts because she is an expert on the cross-cultural side. I don't know whether you're uh, how that relates to some of the cross-border activities that you're involved with. Do you or Donald would like to join the conversation or anything to comment so far? Yes, sir. Oh, Evo, you are on mute, and so are you, Don. There you
Hello,
go.
everyone. You can hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, Evo. And it looks like my other meeting is starting, so I've got to run. So I'll let you guys chat. Murshad?
Oh, all right, I'll go ahead and talk. Seeing as how I got quiet, I was getting my coffee too. So, coffee's the nectar of the gods for me. So, just letting you guys know, I've been in meetings since 4 a.m. Pacific time already. So, one more meeting after this, and I'm done for Friday. I'm glad I joined this meeting today because one of the worst parts about sales is that it is a roller coaster at times, unless you can nail it down, which sounds like a lot of you guys have nailed it down and so forth. We're not a marketing company, we are a consulting company and so forth, but sales is a big part of what we do. So, learning from you guys today has been very helpful. I know AI has been around 70 years. People don't realize they've been using it, but it has been exploding since 2022. And there's new things even now. It's exploding, kind of like back in the old days, when we all got on the internet from the AOL to what we are today. It explodes every 6 months. AI explodes every single day, it seems like. So, one of the great things I've noticed since last year and moving into this year is my sales team and department is nailing down a lot of these things, and it's been very helpful just listening to this and so forth. There are a lot of laws that are out there, especially in Europe, with recordings and transcripts and so forth like that. So, I don't record all of my meetings anymore. Actually, my Zoom just slides in and just records it. Right off the bat in transcripts that helps me afterwards and so forth, so I could go back and look at what's going on. Just like today's meeting, I didn't record it. Transcript is recording everything that you guys are saying, so I can break all this down and so forth. So, it's been really helpful for me to listen to everything that's transpiring here today, and I'm really grateful for all your information.
Hello, everyone. Well, from my side as well, this was really enrichful. Like hearing everyone that I can tell that you all have that experience in sales and marketing. And well, I'm an SDR from Stillman Solutions team. I'm not a Global Chamber member, but my president it is. And well, I have to say that we all know how it's changing everything and the tools to reach people. In our case, in the past, we used to use like the typical email to the prospect, cold email and calls. And well, with the time in our company, we know that was changing a little bit. So now we are making some little more research and we're trying to contact with people by LinkedIn and try to make that like maybe a more human contact, maybe after events, and try to reach people like in the more human way as possible and to try to connect and not to focus on the sales part, just to focus and make maybe a last relationship with people maybe you don't know now, but in the future could be a good prospect. So that is for my side.
Oh,
Wonderful. Good meeting you, Evo. It looks like Wendy wants to introduce herself. I'm not sure if she was able to jump on the audio.
good stuff.
Oh, hi, how are you? I'm not sure you will be able to see me, but this is Wendy. Um, I own the global suppliers. I manufacture stationery, art, craft, holiday product, journal, stuff like that. So we are based in New Jersey, in US, and our main customers are off-price retailers, department stores, chain stores, supermarket, and looking forward to actually expand more into internationally. Right now, we sell to some country in Caribbean, Central South America, but we want more connection, be able to sell to more country, and also be able to reactive some of the inactive customers, um, things like that. So happy to connect. If anything that we can help, you can help me. Anything that the technology is wise to help on global sales or even domestic sales, we're very interested. Sales and marketing using any technology. We're just using AI to help to write some contents, write some procedures, and things like that. But we're not really doing a lot yet into the sales and development, and thinking to hear what all of you and expert and connect to see is anything that you can help me, I can help you. I'm in the US, so sometimes the people like to expand into the market here. So anything that can help you, happy to connect.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Wendy. Let me pose a question to some of these sales experts and like have a discussion around this. What's working in sales today? Ivo, I want to hear from you too, because you're doing SDR work, and I'm guessing you're trying to connect with people. Dan and Eddie, I know that you're pulling levers, and Steven, what's maybe we do a quick bullet roundtable. What's working today? Ivo, do you want to start us off, and then we'll go Dan, Eddie, and then
Yes,
Steve? Yeah.
absolutely. Well, from my side, as I said, we left aside the part of trying to reach people from like a cold email and try to have, first of all, a material to tell them where do you get them, like from an event or, hi, nice to meet you. This is Ivo. We talked with my president last week, and well, stop using maybe that cold email and start using maybe a LinkedIn audio or a LinkedIn message. So maybe something shorter and more straight to the point.
Excellent.
Good.
LinkedIn audio. I never heard of that. That's great. Dan, do you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a wide open question, a good one, but wide open in a lot of different areas of the selling process. I'm working with a client today, and where we're seeing a lot of success is the types of outreach messaging that they have. I see a lot of outreach messaging from salespeople that just say, "Hi, my name is Dan. We do this, and would love to meet you and connect, and see if you have some time to tell you about my company." And those generally don't have very good response rates, right? So what I see working the best is content where you're able to show a little bit about the industry, the trends. You're talking about their business. You're intelligent in your discussion, in your opening statement, but that you're providing a hook. Saying we have helped clients like you do these types of things, or clients in your area and your industry are facing these problems. Here, how we solve those problems. Would you like to explore how I can help solve those things for you? So, outreach is great, but you can have a lot of wasted time and money if it's not good content. And I'm always focusing salespeople on the best content, showing that you are helping the organization by consulting them. You're helping them solve a problem, and you're providing an offer to solve that problem versus just, "Hi, my name is Dan and I work for so-and-so company." That's one thing.
That's great, Dan. I love that. Real quick question, just to go a little bit deeper on that. What's the distribution of that? Is that email? Is that LinkedIn? How are you giving that content to folks?
Yeah. I'm actually working with this company now. They're just a small, a £5.5 million company, annual revenue, which is like $7 million. Interior luxury furniture business. So they design and import interior luxury furniture from all over the world and provide it to commercial, retailers and interior designers. this campaign is a combination of both email and LinkedIn. So we're targeting the ICPs, which are the procurement, the buyers of these organizations, the owners of interior design studios. But we're doing it through LinkedIn and email, and running both campaigns simultaneously. And it's really good quality content, and we're inviting them in for, a meeting. We're providing an offer to them, but we're talking about their particular industry, and we're seeing some pretty good responses so far.
Great share. Great share. Eddie,
Yeah.
I love that. And to answer your question, Bernard, I mean, what do I see, really for me as a game changer right now, using AI for really deep research prior to either doing a campaign and doing digital outreach, or prior to scheduling a sales call with somebody if it's going to be a personal meeting. Back in the day, you didn't know what people's motivations were if you've never talked to them and you haven't heard word of mouth, and you kind of had to get on the phone and feel it out. Nowadays, you can research everything about somebody. You can get a really good feel for, who they are, what's important to them, what their position is. You can
Yeah.
go deeper with that position. What are problems they might be, having with that specific role in that specific sector? You can do all that research beforehand, and you create an absolutely rock solid playbook for that sales call. And
Yeah.
it's a game changer, right? You're focusing more on them than you. And this is the other thing I wanted to say is a lot of salespeople, to your point, Dan, they'll do the outreach, whether it's them actually talking to somebody or it's a digital automated outreach. And it's all about, hey, it's really nice to meet you. I have this product, and this product is the best because of what. And
Yes.
nobody wants to hear that. But when you reach out to somebody, and I mean, if you can get to the point where it's personalized, where, hey, Bernard, in your role as title, I imagine you have these problems, and we're professionals at solving those problems. Actually, I have this case study where we've dealt with the same issue and saved X millions of dollars for this company. Would you like to have a conversation? I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but I'm doing it on the spot.
Yeah.
But it's more, use the research to really personalize that outreach and focus the outreach on them. You shouldn't talk about your product at all until after you've defined what their needs are.
Just to add to that, I think it's a great point, Eddie, about the research. I use a tool called knowledgenet.ai, and it's an integration into my LinkedIn. I use it instead of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And I'm sure there's a lot of other tools just like it, but it brings in personality information about that particular person. So it tells me how how that person likes to hear information, how they like to interpret it. Do they like figures? Do they like it quick? Do they like stories? Do they like this? And so you can then tailor your message specifically to the personality of the person who's going to open it. And so I'm not just taking another step. But your point about research is absolutely spot on. It's incorporates all the industry, all the information, but you can also get personality information, which is cool.
I want to hear more about
And it
that.
works. I've run my own personality. It's like 98% correct. It blows me away. I don't even know where it gets this information. It's right.
And send me information on that app. That sounds fantastic. That's
Yeah, I'll send you to.
Yeah, what was the name of the app?
It's called knowledgenet.ai. They're a technology provider. They're actually a productivity partner for sales acceleration, so I recommend them to a lot of our clients. But it's an integration directly into LinkedIn. So when I search somebody, I just click on their name and up comes their whole profile, along with emails and phone numbers and everything else. But then I can click on personality traits, and it just gives me a whole description of that person's personality, and particularly how they like to receive information, how they like to hear, And it's amazing how accurate it is for me personally. I was just blown away. And we've seen a lot of our advisors have done it, and it's really close.
I'd be interested to see, because a lot of the things, I mean, over years, LinkedIn wasn't big here. They had Sing and some other things like that,
Yeah.
because people were hesitant, especially in Germany, to put their profiles, etc., online. Bit by bit, more and more, you're seeing more people a little bit opening up to that. But I think what we've seen in our business right now, for business development, is that where we used to do a lot of emails, following up, etc. They're just landing in spam, etc. And people just don't want it. I think the LinkedIn is still a good tool right now because at least it can see the person who's behind this. Is this real? Somewhat, be able to get to that. Um, and I think the AI is a good tool. I was just at a meeting last week. Actually, the topic was technology, AI companies, startups, scale-ups, and investment companies that were in there. It was a 2-day meeting in Berlin. Um, AI helped to reduce the number of people and strategically go to companies that you say would fit the growth pattern. What are you looking for? Because I think right now with emails and being careful with LinkedIn, because of the economic environment here, probably UK would see the same thing. They're getting inundated with this stuff. So you have to do something different than other people. And I think coming back to it, ideally, the ideal situation are trade shows, things like that, where people actually have the opportunity to see a living person in front of them.
What
Um,
we've got to close up, and I'd like to ask Bernard to say a final word. But what you're alluding to reminds me of a meeting we had yesterday. I was trying to figure out which one it was. It was Frank in Berlin. So Stephen, I think you may know Frank now.
yeah, I was with him at that meeting, actually.
Oh, that's right. So remember what he said right in the beginning is these are the wrong words, or these are the wrong ears for my words. So, what you're alluding to is finding those people who are going to be receptive to the words that you're saying. There's the whole process of developing what your words are, right? Of what your story is. But then once you've got that, what are the ears that need to hear it? And Bernard's an expert on that. So Bernard, I'd like to give you the last word because we only have about a minute to go before we've got to close down. Not to put any pressure on you, but you've been on pressure. You live on pressure because you're constantly doing these things online and you just jump in. So what would you like to leave us with today?
No, great conversations, great discussions. Learned a lot from these amazing sales leaders. Please reach out to all of them. And I think I want to summarize this. Technology and AI are here. We have to embrace it. But the final thing I want to say, it's human connection. It's if you're able to reach out to that person, whether it's online or emails, if it's working or not, or social media, if you're able to capture their attention, which Eddie mentioned the hook, right? And I think Dan as well. If you're able to capture attention, bring them in your universe, I do a one-to-many model, which is a webinar, because that way I could teach people at scale versus one-on-one. That's just my style. But if you're able to capture attention, get them, tell them your knowledge, build the trust, they'll do business with you. There is a rule. I think it's like 7-11/4. It's by Daniel Priestley. If you get someone to consume 7 hours of your content, 11 touch points on 4 different platforms, they're highly likely to at least do business with you, right? So find a way, because you all seen it. If you consume someone's content at scale, you feel like you know them and you feel like you trust them a little more, right? So anyway, that's what I will leave you with is AI is here, but it's always about human connection.
Very good.
Capture their ears. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Stay cool. Thanks.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
you too. Good seeing everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks, Bernard. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Evo.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Eddie.
You, Doug.
Stay cool this weekend.